Hello and welcome back to my workshop. Last week we went ahead and made this inlay bench jig. This week I'm going to show you how to use it. I've gone ahead and prepared a small piece of abalone. It's about, I would say, an intermediate design. It's a bird in flight. To be specific, it's a dove. Nothing too fancy, just a simple little thing. We'll move over to the bench and we'll show you how it's done. Here we've got some of the tools that we're going to be using. We've got a saw and various files of different shapes and sizes. That's about all you'll need to cut them. You could cut them with a Dremel. For me, I think that's a little too much power. This gives me a lot more control. That way I don't chip away more than I want to. Here we've got our jig and the vise. We've got our piece that we're going to work on here. I modeled this one after the one from Crimson Guitars. I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested in that one and you're not interested in making one yourself. I decided to do it because I have all the tools available to me to do this. Theirs is put in a bench vise to be stand-up height so that you don't have to hunch over the table. There are many different styles like this. The old one I had, was, like I said, was just a main board, and I decided to update what I had before. There are other ones I've seen that mount to the side of your bench with basically dowels, but I like this one. This gives me the ability to stand up and look over my piece rather than hunching over it. Now, like I said, it's just a simple bird, so we're going to start by cutting it with the saw to remove a lot of this excess areas, and then from there I'm going to switch to different files to get the shape of it. The idea behind this is it gives you various different points to work from so that you're not restricted to going on the side of your bench. When I started doing this, I started doing it on the side of the bench, and you can get by and do that, but this gives you a lot more control of what shape you want, and it gives you the ability to come right up to the edge of it if you need to. It also gives you the ability to set the depth where you want to, so you're running into the jig instead of running into the piece that you're trying to inlay. I have switched around my saw so that the teeth are on the pole, because with a lot of these you're going to go on a downstroke. So I'm going to come right up to the edge first so that I can cut out this portion here. We're going to get it started, and then from there we're going to remove the excess. And you see, now we got some of that waste taken away. Now I'm going to do that for the rest of it. Now that we got a lot of the waste cut away, I'm going to go ahead and redraw my shape on there, because now I've worn it away. This is the problem with the abalone, is nothing really takes to it. I even put a permanent marker on there and it rubs away. You always want to redraw that on there so you know where you're putting the design at. Now that we got our design redrawn on there, I'm going to go ahead and cut a little more of this waste off, and then we're going to move over to the files. Now that we got most of that waste cut away, I'm going to saw a little bit into this line to give us the definition between the separation of the wings. Now that that's all done, I'm going to switch over to the files, and I'll be using various different ones throughout this process. When you're working with your files, just like with the saw, you want to work on the downstroke because all your pressure is going upward. So you want to work with the pressure you're putting down on it rather than fighting against it. Now to help with definition, on this part right here, I'm going to take this and angle it off so that you get a little divot here. It won't go straight through the piece, but it'll just be on top just to give it a little bit of separation. Now that we got the lower part of the bird all set, I'm going to redraw the wings back on, and I'm going to do the individual feathers at the top. Alright, we got the wing pieces all set. Now we're going to go in and take that apart away. For these larger parts, I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut with my saw first, so that gives me a starting point for my file. Alright, and there we have it. We've got a little bird. Now the idea behind these little angled lines is that when we put the inlay in, it's going to infill with the color, giving it the illusion that there's separation. So it gives you a full piece to work with, but then once we finish it off, it's going to fill in that space. We'll rub away some of this permanent marker. Hopefully that'll show the bird. Well, I'm really happy with how this turned out. It's a simple little tool, but it helps out a lot. And it makes small work of cutting such a small piece. And like I said, you could cut it on the end of your bench. Similar idea, it's just a flat surface. This just gives you a little more contour to work with. I like this, I'm happy with it. I may update it in the future, but for now, this works out a lot better than the one that I had. Next week, we'll inlay this. I haven't decided what I'm going to inlay it to yet. I don't have any current guitar projects sitting around that need inlays, but we'll find something to inlay. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Bye.